If it is or if it ain't, it's gonna come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you are listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is January the 31st, 2024, and today the topic is open manner arrogance. Happy Wednesday. Yes, I believe it's Wednesday. So happy Wednesday, everybody. I hope that you guys had a terrific Tuesday. Mine was just fine. Yep, mine was good overall. Yesterday I ended up having a lot of me time yesterday. Um, my husband and my son went out and ran some errands pretty much all day yesterday, and so your girl was chillaxing for the most part. Trying to think. I know I had at least one conversation. I feel like I had a couple of conversations yesterday. Um, Did I do an episode of GSL? I don't think so. I don't think I had an episode or anything like that to do. Um, can't really think of anything of significance. By the time they got back home, though, we had burgers and I guess you would consider it to be like a movie night, even though we was kind of like binge watching a show and whatnot. And then Papa was like, 9 o'clock, we all going to bed. That's usually NJ's time. But he's, was trying to go to bed around that time as well because, he intended to get up this morning, but he got up this morning not feeling well. So I'll be praying for my hubby and everything like that. But yeah, I guess that's it. That's all of significance. He look, pray for me, because listen, I feel fine. I pray I continue to feel fine because listen, I got things to do and whatnot. So yeah, we're gonna be, I guess stocking back up on our medicine and all that good stuff. But anywho, so yeah, today, this morning, I mean, I woke up around 2:12 and I made a note of that, everything like I usually do. I think I stayed up between that time and the regular time, or maybe I went back to sleep. I can't remember. I know I did go back to sleep at some point. I listened to the prayer meditation and then I went back to sleep. I felt like the Lord was like, oh, maybe he had some stuff to show me. I remember some type of dream and whatnot happening in between that time, but I don't remember what I was going on. But anywho, um, and then finally when I woke back up, I'm seeking the Lord about what, the conversation is going to be about today. And it's so funny because sometimes the way it goes is I'm thinking, I'm looking, I'm thinking, I'm seeking, I'm seeing if, there's anything standing out to me about any of the, things like normal, right? Like maybe the time I woke up or whatever, right? And I'm reading those verses. There was a couple of phrases and things that came into my heart and mind, and I was looking those things up, but they just weren't necessarily resonating. So I'm like, okay, well, and then at some point, I usually get to the point where I'm like, okay, is this a no juice day? Is this a freestyle day? Um, and then usually after I think that's all, not long after I tend to get, a revelation or whatever the case may be. Ultimately, I got led back to looking in the Strong's Concordance at 212 and looking at those words, actually going to translate the Hebrew and the Greek words. And that's where I got open manner and arrogance, because one of them meant open manner and then the other one meant arrogance. And when I looked that up, I plugged that into openbible.info, and those verses was resonating, jumping out the pages. So I just started writing. And this is the inspiration for today. So I guess we can go ahead and get into it, open manner arrogance. I mean, I was honest with you guys. I think I was. But if not, I guess I'm gonna be honest now and let you guys know that I kind of was wondering if I was being a little arrogant in my thoughts, like last week and stuff like that, because long story short, I mean, without getting too deep into the situation, because everything is cool right now. But again, when you're working with other people, right? Sometimes, it can be frustrating to, I guess not get quick feedback or not, I guess get an understanding. You ask questions and then they don't answer fully, things like that can be frustrating, especially, I guess, as a creative person. And so for me, at some point, knowing the gift that God has given me, right? I know I'm able to handle things alone, right? And sometimes we can get, arrogant and be like, I never would be like, I don't need you to somebody. I don't think I would say nothing like that. But like to my husband and to my closest confidants, I would probably, well, basically what I did was kind of just let them know, like, I mean, I know that I really don't need these other people. You know what I'm saying? I could really just do this by myself, and it would save me a lot of headache, and stuff like that. And everything. And of course, yeah, I'm speaking out of frustration and stuff. I'm not gonna sit here and, do things like that or whatever. I mean, I try to stay professional. I try to, make sure I again do unto others what I would have them do unto me. So I try to just still do my part and stay positive and whatnot. But every now and then again, my husband may see the other side, right? Or my homeboy Kelvin, my co-star slash brother slash, financial advisor and all that. Those two individuals, I feel like I talk to them the most, and so they may get some of my thoughts that other people might not get, right? But even with that, again, I humbly say that, hey, at the end of the day, if the Lord take away any of the giftings that He's given me, or if He switches anything up, or whatever the case may be, then I will have to humble myself and understand that maybe I can't do it alone, um, and things like that, right? And so, um, so I can receive, this word today, right? I can receive this word and say, hey, Miracle, humble yourself, and things of that nature, let's not be arrogant. But there's some people in the world, right, that will just not only be arrogant about things dealing with us and each other, right, but they'll definitely be arrogant about the things of God, and the way that they treat God and everything like that. Matter of fact, there was one of the phrases that came into my heart and mind this morning, um, that I felt like God was asking the question, do I matter? Um, and not do I, Miracle, matter, but does He matter to me, right? Does He matter to you? And I was going deeper about that, but the more I went deeper, I would just seeing things about, that we matter to God and X, Y, and Z. But sometimes I do wonder, like, do God matter to us? Because if He did, then again, that would affect what we do, what we say, how we live, how we treat people, all those different things. And so, um, with all of this on my heart and mind this morning, like I said, I've already shared where the inspiration came from. And like I said, I just went deeper about, again, this whole concept of being arrogant, and and how, again, some can be straight up arrogant to the Lord, and or some of us, right? Some of us can be so arrogant to the Lord. Again, we're putting up our fingers at Him, we're crucifying Him daily with our actions and things like that, not giving any respect or anything to, again, what He has done for us. And so, with that on our heart and mind this morning, let's go ahead and read these verses and see if there will be anything that could be inspirational to us, um, and hopefully encourage us and inspire us to be better. So let's see. James 4 and 6, it says, but He gives more grace. Therefore, it says, God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Like, at the end of the day, like, I mean, like I said earlier, I know that, as much as I think that I can do it alone, I don't need these individuals, X, Y, and Z. As much as I think that, God can quickly switch my situation. You know what I mean? And so it behooves us to stay humble, right? And to understand that, everything you have and can do right now isn't always promised to you, right? I know a friend of mine was telling me about her cousin that has gotten shot and now is paralyzed. Things of that nature. It's like, we take all of these type of things for granted, right? We take our health, strength, life, all these things for granted. And then some of us, end up in humbling situations that change and shifts our whole entire life. Some of us lose our life completely, and unfortunately don't have, any other chance and opportunity to try to get it right and things like that. So, um, all of these things are just something to think about. But let me go ahead and give you guys another verse. So, Proverbs 8 and 13, it says, the fear of the Lord is hatred of evil, pride and arrogance, and the way of evil, and perverted speech I hate. Ooh, now listen, I mean, I really don't have, I mean, again, there's a Bible verse that says, if you're not with me, you're against me, and this is what I feel like is reiterating here. It says, to fear the Lord, right, is to hate evil. Um, and he's saying that he hates all these other things: pride, arrogance, the way of evil, and perverted speech. So, we can all go deeper about more context around these things and get a better understanding about, who's saying what and things of that nature. But, um, I think the verse speaks for itself. I mean, it said what it says. So let's go ahead and get another one. Proverbs 16 and 5, it says, everyone who is arrogant in heart is an abomination to the Lord. Be assured he will not go unpunished. Ooh, that might be more pulp this morning, y'all. Again, and for those that may be new, pulp to me means things that we might not like or understand while we're reading the Word of God and getting the juice. Every now and then we might get some pulp, right? So, anywho, yeah, man, that might be Pope this morning. I mean, we may be getting away with our arrogant behavior right now, right? You may be feeling like, I don't need no Jesus, I don't need this, I don't need that fellowship. What? Just turning up our nose at everything that the Lord has done and asked of us. But that last part of that verse is what's standing out to me the most. It says, be assured he will not go unpunished. So yeah, you may think you're winning and thriving and doing your thing, but again, we can all quickly be humbled. And I mean, I don't want this to be me at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? I definitely want to look humble myself now, and understand that, okay, well, Lord, I lay these things before you. I lay my life. All these different things because. At the end of the day, again, I know that with all the blessings, the beautiful things that you've given me, all these things can quickly change. Again, I was just reminded on Christmas Eve, and I know y'all probably tired of me talking about it, but again, y'all, I mean, it means a lot to me to know that I'm still here today. It means a lot to me to know that, you know what, obviously God saw fit for me to still be here. Obviously, there's more work that I need to do. Whatever the case may be, he allowed that accident to not go the way that it could have gone. And I'm thankful for that, and that's a humbling thing, right? To know that, okay, I was in abundance 2023, all these amazing things kept happening back to back to back to back to back. And then right at the end of the year, all the craziness, like they say, all hell broke loose, like they say, like starting with the whole Christmas Eve situation. Christmas ended up being kind of cool, but then after that, it just was like one thing after another. And so again, it's a humbling thing to go through, and we know that again, life is not going to just be all up, up, up all the time. There's going to be some ups and downs to life and stuff. So we know that type of stuff already, but I'm just saying how important it is for us to again stay humble before we get humbled. You know, I think that might be the word right there. So then, let me see. Proverbs 16 and 18. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Listen, again, every time that, even when I was saying what I was saying last week about the situation I was in, right? It did cross my mind to be like, what, humble yourself, like, what, don't be too, prideful about the situation at the end of the day, um, because again, I do appreciate people, right? I do appreciate being able to work with other people and things of that nature. And so, I appreciate each and every person that is assisting me and stuff like that. So I don't want it to ever be like I don't appreciate people or something. But at the same time, again, I'm just being honest and human that, hey, man, it gets a little frustrating sometimes when you're trying to lead something, trying to get something together. People aren't responding. People are like, not treating it, as professional as they should, things of that nature. And, it can bother you and stuff. You be like, man, I don't really even need this, man, but at the same time, again, like, let's stay humble. Let's stay, let's dial down the arrogance and the pride and all of those things. Because, hey, friends, I mean, you stay in that lane, it's saying all that's going to come after that is a fall. If I continue to walk in pride and all of that, like, what do you guys think would happen to me in my situation? Like, I think what would happen is that, again, I would find myself in a very humble position that I would need each and every person that I, quote unquote, thought I didn't need, and things like that. So, if that's what could happen, with me, right, in my little humble life and my little, things that I have going on and stuff like that, like, what could happen to those that are pointing their nose and fingers at God and saying, I don't need you? I think people are learning that every day what could happen, and still sometimes people still deny. And people still, don't wake up, whatever the case may be, and get the understanding of wisdom and knowledge and truth. But for those of you that listen to the sound of my voice, I hope that you all are taking heed. I hope that you guys, keep these things on your heart and mind as you go through your life. Let's check our pride, check our arrogance, and things of that nature. I got one more verse before we get into the Bible verse of today, and that is James 4:10. It says, humble yourself before the Lord, and he will exalt you. At the end of the day, like, anytime you're trying to exalt yourself out here, you are going to probably fall. You know what I mean? You're going to, again, be humble. We hear and see all kinds of stuff around us all the time. People that are so high and so they got all these great things and they've achieved all these amazing goals and whatever it is, right? They got all the riches of the land and things of that nature, and they get quickly humbled. And you may not think that that's by the Lord. Some people might just think, oh, it's just a coincidence or whatever you think it is. But again, I'm going to give all glory and honor to the Lord. And again, we know that he raises kings, he tears them down. He's in control of all things. And so I believe that's why we're seeing people getting humbled. That's why we're seeing people getting called out. Again, what's done in the dark is coming to the light and all those different things. And so, I know people are talking about this year being a year of exposure and all this different type of stuff. And hey, again, I guess we'll all see, right? Again, where we are with all of this, I guess, by the fruit, right? So that's all I got to say about that. I mean, that's ultimately the juice this morning. You guys can go deeper. There's even more verses in the go deeper section that you guys can peruse and let marinate on your heart, souls, and minds. But the Bible verse of today is Luke 12:15. It says, and he said unto them, take heed and beware of a covetousness, for a man's life consisteth not on the abundance of the things which he possesseth. Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.
Get ready for an exhilarating experience like never before. Join New Bethel AME in Lithonia, Georgia for a cruise to worship, an event that blends the thrill of car enthusiasm with the spirit of worship. All are welcome to rev up your engines and hit the open road and come together in fellowship. So save the date, February 18th at New Bethel AME in Lithonia, Georgia, cruise to worship, where faith and engines unite.